Hello. Oh man. It's been a little while, but I'm ready to be back. I'm ready to show up, at least today. I've got a lot on my mind, a lot of things I've been trying to work through, and so I don't really know where this video will end up, but just needing to update and in a mood that I feel like doing that. And lately, I think I mentioned in my last video, I can't remember, but I have been working on embracing the moods that I'm in, not forcing things. So for me, I still have a lot of ups and downs with hormones that are kind of messed up still from concussion journey stuff, and it's been hard to really truly embrace the different seasons. The seasons is what I'm calling them, the mini ups and downs, and just living, trying not to force things. So if I'm not in the mood to make a YouTube video, then I won't. And that's been a good exercise to really tune into myself and just have a period of time in my life where I'm not forcing things. I do that too much, and lately I've stepped back from a lot of things, which has been very, very helpful in gaining some more mental clarity, some personal understanding on things, and it's amazing how much time I have right now, and even with that, how much I still need to really take a step back from everything and think things through. So the last little while, I've always known that I'm impatient with life, wanting to figure everything out as soon as possible, wanting to get my life in order, and so I've learned a little bit to slow down and not rush things, but that's a lesson that I can't really seem to learn, and that's been on my mind a lot lately, especially in regards to creative career dreams and how to spend my time over the next little while, because I do have an abundance of time at the moment, which I'm extremely grateful for, but then I end up putting pressure on that time. I still always have a compulsion to make the most of things, so it's like I need to be productive with my days. I need to make the most of this time while I still have it. Initially, trying to create passive income was part of the plan for the time off, and I abandoned that, which was amazing to have the freedom to not have that pressure and to do other things, and that has been extremely beneficial. 100% the right choice. It has led to a lot of personal insights and breakthroughs, and just getting my health back and myself back, and that part's been amazing. But there are still a lot of pressures that I put on myself. Even, taking that out of the equation, it's still like, okay, I have to make the most of this time. How do I spend it? And I just really, really realizing that there are so many things in my life that I still have expectations with. So expectations is a big word that I've been thinking about lately, of, everything has an expectation, and I need to let go of that. I need to let go of timelines. That's a huge part of my expectations, is timelines for things, this sense of urgency that I've created that shouldn't be there. I've made things more complicated than they need to be, more stressful than they need to be. I've compromised a lot of processes for things because I get ahead of myself. I want to make the most of things, and by getting caught up in all of that, I counterintuitively squander my time because I'm scattered, I'm not focused, and I'm rushing. And so I really need to truly learn to step back and not have expectations and timelines for things, because I have a lot of time in my life right now, which I'm so grateful for, but if I'm not truly enjoying it, then I am squandering it. whether I'm working towards something or not, like, I should be enjoying my life right now, every single day. I'm literally living a dream lifestyle. Like, this is my dream. I have the freedom to sleep in, to not have an alarm in my life, which is so amazing. I have time to work on my creative things and hobbies and interests and learn new things and go for walks and just have time and space. And yeah, that's so amazing. And there are days where I certainly am caught up in the gratitude for all of that. But there are days where I'm still putting pressures on myself to need to make the most of this time off. And what God has really been teaching me lately is that I still have all these expectations. I'm still trying to rush things. I'm still trying to figure out my life. And I'm still losing sight of, like, this current season that I'm in. Like, because it's focused on the next season instead of, like, fully embracing and enjoying the season right now and each day. That I should be super happy every day to be living this life. But I get caught up in things, and I get in my own head, and I have expectations. And so that's been really good for me to take a step back, to realize that it is sad, like, how much time I have, and yet I still needed to not force anything to really try to learn this lesson, to really understand what it means to prioritize, what I actually value in life, and forcing myself to not accomplish, forcing myself to not have to-dos, has been challenging. Excuse me. But very good. So I've neglected YouTube for a while, which was fine. That was intentional. And it was a bit of a struggle because I do want to do this. I did like the accountability of once a week making a video, because the videos I'm making aren't super planned out and scripted. A lot of them is just, hit record and see what happens. And so that doesn't take any extra time to plan ahead. It's just sitting down and doing it. And I did want to document the ups and downs of my moods as well, to capture, days when I don't feel like showing up, to get kind of the whole picture and not just show up when I feel like it, because then you get this tainted view of who I am when I struggle a lot in the in-betweens. And so I did want to be authentic and show kind of all sides of the journey, but lately I've abandoned that, and so it has been hard to let that go, especially when I do have time to do it. It's not a matter of not having time. That's usually the excuse, is, well, if I had more time, I would show up, I would do this consistently, but it's, again, another area of my life that I really need to let go of expectations and not force things, and just learn to live without expectations, without accomplishing, and just without rushing into things. Like, it's still, even if I want to do it, it's easy for me to get caught up in it and have this as, a focus, a priority. Okay, every week I'm going to do this. It becomes, a tool that, again, I enjoyed the accountability of that. I thought once a week was a good amount of accountability, a good amount of forcing things, a good balance. But lost my train of thought with that. But yeah, anyways, not forcing things with YouTube, not forcing things with other areas of my life, just especially with my timeline for things, and reevaluating career stuff, creative dreams, realizing recently that basically I've been attempting my own kind of creative career dreams for the last 10 or 15 years. I don't know. It's been a long time. And it's been side hustle, so to speak, but more dabbling and trying to figure out things while I went through a very complicated concussion journey, which was, its own beast that affected a lot of things, affected my ability to actually pursue things. But then when I have had time to pursue things, then it's complicated because I compromise my process, the creative stuff that I want to do completely for its own sake. I want to do it for fun. I don't, ideally I could make it work where the things I do for fun can generate income, and that was the goal, the aim eventually. But I was still rushing that. I was still feeling like if I don't take advantage of the blocks of time that I've had off in my life to really go hard and create this passive income, then it'll never happen. And just, again, putting pressures on myself that were unnecessary, forcing a timeline, which is not helpful. And so I realized recently that this creative career attempt, it hasn't been working. In the in-between, in the middle ground, is what I've been calling it. Essentially, there is no middle ground for me. There can't be a hybrid of like dabbling, trying to build up income. Like, it's got to be completely 0 or 100 for me. It's got to be you do everything for its own sake because you want to, because it's fun, with 0 expectations, with nothing that is forced, no timelines, no consistent output required, just doing things for fun. Like, that's what I've always wanted to do, is just do it all for fun. But I can't reconcile that with needing to pay the bills. So, the job thing for me was never about not wanting to work for someone else. It was that I didn't see any job that existed out there that I felt I could do that wouldn't detract from my own personal interests. I have a lot of interests and it requires a lot of time, and so I want to have time for that, and I want to have energy for that. But especially with concussion issues still lingering, work takes a lot out of me, whatever work it is. And I do want freedom in my schedule, which having a day job normally doesn't allow. So the solution for me was creative career because I didn't think it could work any other way. When in reality it could if I found the right job. But either way, whatever is ahead job-wise, career-wise, I think I've come to the conclusion that I can't keep dabbling. I can't keep doing this. Maybe someday I'll keep building this stuff and it can turn into income. Like, if that happens, that's still kind of the goal, but I can't have any expectations or timeline on it. Because again, I've put pressures on it that are unnecessary, and then that compromise the process, and then I don't even enjoy the things that I enjoy. So I either do it all purely for fun, no expectations, no timeline, nothing forced, or I do pick something, force myself to focus on it, try to create that income, and go hard, which is what I had kind of started to do in the fall with teaching, and then just realized that that wasn't what I should be spending my time on, that I did need to step back from that and figure out some other things in my life. And again, that was the right decision, and I'm very grateful that I did that. It's very, very helpful. So, there's still the option to force something, to treat something like a business, which is not the route that I intend to go down. I think I really do need to stop forcing my own creative stuff to become a job, because I never really wanted that. Like, I don't want my creative stuff to be what my income is relying on. Like, paying the bills with that stuff, that's a whole other element that changes everything. It changes the process, and for me it compromises a lot of things. So essentially there was cognitive dissonance there that I didn't really realize, that I was trying to force things when it's in my nature to not force things, to want to do things just for fun. And I think it could still work long term, but the key is long term. I've still, forced things way too much with a timeline that unless I do this now, I'm not going to have time off ever again to get things in order. I'll have a day job. I won't have energy outside of that job to work on my side hustles, and then I'll be in a job that I hate for the rest of my life. And, I get caught up in that sort of thinking, which stems from a lot of years of my concussion journey when there was 8 years of depression where, going to a job, a minimum wage menial job, was super depressing for me. There were times at Wendy's I used to work at years ago, and I had a 3-hour shift, and there were times where, I'd had a weekend off, and going in, a 3-hour shift depressed me. And, so some of that does stem from my previous reality, but I am realizing lately that, that is not my reality anymore. Things have changed. I am such a better person now. Physically, mentally, emotionally, spiritually as well. I've come a long way, and, I view work differently than I did before. And yeah, I enjoy working for other people in a lot of ways. There are a lot of ways to accomplish the lifestyle that I want, the balance that I want with my hobbies. I don't have to work 40 hours to pay the bills. I can get by on less than that. And there's just a lot of solutions to the problem that I thought that having my own creative career was kind of the only solution, which, because I've come a long way and view work differently now, then there are other options. Going back to a minimum wage job that others would view as menial is something that I would be completely open to doing. The main thing for me is the lifestyle. You can get a part-time job that allows you to sleep in, to not have an alarm, that has a relatively flexible schedule. There are other options. And so these are the things that have been on my mind lately. Just really realizing that I'm forcing too much. I'm forcing a timeline. I've put all these pressures on myself that have made things way more complicated than they need to be. And stepping back from a lot of things has been super helpful. Sorry if I have neglected being in touch with you. There are a couple people that I haven't got back to, which is weird for me, letting go of certain things. I have learned what prioritizing actually is as well, certain things on my to-do list that feels like it's piling up, but if you just neglect those things, within reason, if they're not actually urgent, then you can just neglect those things and focus on what actually matters. So that's been a big step for me as well, learning to prioritize properly and actually not do things that aren't necessary, taking things one day at a time, and again, not forcing things. So I feel like that was a lot to get out, a lot to get off my chest. And then the YouTube thing also is a bit of a conundrum because, again, I want to create content. I enjoy it. And another problem with that is I have ideas. I write things down. I get in certain moods that are conducive to things that I want to create. And, teaching is one example of that. I have a few different ideas for courses, some that I've fleshed out an entire framework for a course in 10 minutes because I'm just in that flow state and it just comes together and it's okay, I want to make this course. I want to talk about it. I want to make these videos about these things that I'm learning. But once the moment passes of that initial spark and excitement, then I'm on to something else. And so if I don't make a video about something basically as it's happening, then I don't really get around to doing it. And so that's another problem that I'm not sure how to address. For now, I've just again, been neglecting making videos, not forcing things, which I think is what I'm supposed to be doing. Learning to let all of that go and not rush. Even creatively, I've worked on some little DIY projects that I had plans to film every step of the way, creative shots and, stop motion, and having, the whole process captured visually, and learning to let that go, to not even document the process, just make the thing, because it's more important for me to make the thing, because it's, another thing that I want to do, but it's being held up by forcing the filming of it, and just, I guess, learning to let go of expectations there as well. And so I don't know with YouTube whether I should do more videos of just turning on a camera, hitting record in the moment. In terms of, like, even this was like a setup. I didn't switch my lens out, but I put a microphone on and I put it on a tripod. And even that, it seems like there's still a barrier to hitting record. There's still a sense of, okay, this is a production now, instead of me just casually talking to the camera. So, like, sitting here on my floor against my closet was more conducive to the mood that I was in, of, like, making it feel less like a production. Whereas if I'm even just standing up in my office, like I've done in recent videos, like that, just standing, in that setting feels more like a production. And so I've been toying with, just grabbing a camera and documenting my reality that way. But I also have my daily vlog that I do, which I don't publish. Like, I hope to eventually, but it's something I've been doing for 3 or 4 years now. I can't remember. Every single day, I do at the end of the night, and in that, I talk through a lot of things that I've discovered each day, or worked on, or insights that I have, and I've kind of feel like I've documented my life that way, and then I'm just forcing myself to regurgitate that for a separate video if I make a YouTube video about it. So, I don't know. There's lots to think about in all of it, and I'm trying to navigate it all, which I think I'm finally in the right headspace, finally on the right track of letting go of a lot of things, which is weird because for YouTube, I didn't even really have a lot of expectations. Like, I was going in with, like, I'm not going to force a consistent schedule. I stumbled into once a week and I enjoyed that, but it was like, I'm not going to force production value. Like, I'm just going to hit record. And there was, like, I made it. I made the barrier to entry almost nothing, but it still feels too much at times. And I'm still trying to figure out life, still trying to figure out everything. But that is a very long explanation of where my mind's been at lately. Just so many interests, so many things in my head, so many thoughts all the time. It's hard to know how to deal with all of it. And I want to express that. I want to document it on here, but I think for the time being, it needs to be unforced. It needs to be, my life needs to be slower and more disconnected, and so that I can really, truly learn to not have pressures and expectations that I'm putting on myself unnecessarily, especially with rushing timelines and trying to figure out my life and everything. So, that's where I'm at today. That's what's been going on the last little while. If you're still here, that is extremely commendable. I don't know why you're still here, but thank you for tuning in to this journey as I navigate all of it and try to learn to once again be more patient with my life. Yeah. All right. The end.